Okay, welcome to the Backstage Pastor. We've not done one in a couple weeks. We've been all around the globe, and by all around the globe, for us little Fort St. John homeschoolers, we mean we went down to America.
Me and VD are definitely not homeschoolers.
No.
That's right, actually. I was the only homeschooler. Yep. Okay, I want to start this podcast off. We're going to actually talk about Bethel down in Redding and just process. We got back from a conference there. 8 of us went, of the staff. But first off, I want to start with a little story that will just warm your guys' hearts and make you feel like you're more mature than I am. But when I was 18, actually, Logan, I was working for your dad. Me and Buddy, I won't mention his name.
Did he have a name?
He did have a name. Started with a K. And we went over to Breakforth, which was like a conference where all the big Christian artists and bands and speakers and everything. Francis Chan is there, and Cutlass and Skillet and Toby Mac and all these guys.
Why did they call it Breakforth instead of Breakthrough?
Because you break forth into the light, I guess. But anyway, so we got a hotel, me and my buddy, and then another buddy from Williams Lake who was 10 years older than us. And we got back to the hotel at like 2 a.m. and we have this idea. In all the movies, you let your buddy down. We were on the 3rd story. You let your buddy down out the window by, how do you let them down? The
Sheets.
Yes.
Sheets.
And what do you do with the sheets?
You tie them together.
Exactly.
Vadim, have you done this before?
No.
Do you have a jail experience?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So we take
I've seen
the
movies.
sheets. We had 2 queen beds. 2 of us are sharing. And then older guy gets one. So we tie all the sheets together, all the blankets together, just like the movies.
I see where it's going.
And then my buddy, Kay, was always down for anything. And he could be convinced into anything. So I convinced him, no, we'll let you down 3 stories. Actually, it was letting him down 2 stories onto a rooftop. And then he would have to climb down off that roof and then come.
With no sheets.
Yes, with no sheets, jump down. But I think our plan was actually like, we're going to let you down. You're going to run around on the roof and then grab onto the sheet and we'll pull you back up. Right? Like super simple, fun. It's 3 a.m. Bunch of homeschoolers. And so we open the window and me and Justin are like holding on to the sheet and he grabs the other side and starts going down backwards with his feet.
Yeah.
Like
against
this.
the wall.
Yeah. All is going well. And then he gets down, his feet get down to a window and he's in his boxers.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's the clothes in this story? And why?
All he has is boxers on for some reason.
Did he forget?
To wear clothes?
Yeah.
I'll have to ask him.
You should call him.
I'm not sure he did not, but so he's going down barefoot and rappelling down. All is going well. And then he hits glass. He hits a window.
Oh no.
And his feet slip out from under him. And so his center hip area goes smack against this window. He looks in this window and there's this.
So he's telling you this after.
No, this is happening in real time.
Oh, okay.
Because all of a sudden he starts freaking out.
Right.
He's only down like 5 feet. But we realized we didn't think that there was a window below us with another room.
You didn't think, period. Plus, how did he not have clothes on?
We're the only ones.
There's a lot of not thinking in this equation.
So his feet slip. All of a sudden his undies just go smack on the window and make a big thud.
Yeah.
The big thud makes the people in the room look out their window.
Yeah.
And there's a husband and wife, a male and female, that all of a sudden look out at him and see this guy, arms up like this, in his underwears, squished up against their window. And we don't know this. He tells us this later. All we hear from the top is, let me down, let me down, let me down. And so we just drop him.
Oh my goodness.
So he just raptures. His feet are probably like maybe 7 feet, 8 feet or something from where we thought it was. And we just drop him. So from the people's perspective inside the room, here's this guy in his underwear hanging outside their window. And all of a sudden he just raptures and drops out of sight.
Man, this is the last time they're going to drink too much before bed.
Oh, yeah.
So did you guys pull him back up or what?
No, we
He was
dropped
just-
him, and then we didn't have a plan B, and then there's no way he's coming back up
No.
the same way. Can you imagine the couple? Now this guy's ascending,
Yeah.
going up in his
to the
underwear.
Lord.
So we throw his clothes down to him.
Oh,
Oh, that wasn't too bad of an idea.
He puts clothes on, and we think for sure we're getting kicked out. And he's running around on this roof now with his clothes in his bare feet. And for some reason on this roof there was big like surveillance lights that are motion detection. And so he's running
At least he has
around.
clothes on. That'd be funnier if he didn't.
He has clothes on and he's running around on this roof, and there's these lights that are motion detection. And as he's running around, all these lights are flipping on, and he's seeing more and more people from his perspective look out of their hotel room
yeah.
at this guy in bare feet in the middle of the night.
Running
Maybe it
around.
wasn't 3, maybe it was like midnight.
Yeah.
Just running around. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to get him back. So he jumps. We yell down to him, "Jump down. We'll come out and we'll meet you and we'll bring you back in." And
Wow.
so we did, and we were expecting that entire night for the cops to come or for us to get kicked out or reported or something. Nothing actually happened. Nothing actually.
How high was the roof that he jumped down from bare feet?
1 level.
That would have hurt a bit.
We were up 2. We let him down 1, and then he jumped down 1.
That would have hurt a bit.
And it's like the gravel roof or whatever. But
so silly.
That's what you do at conferences. No, we didn't do that.
That's exactly what we did. Interlude into
Yeah,
our
yes.
conference experience.
segueing into our.
so we're at Bethel Conference, right?
And Bill Johnson is the room beneath us, right?
Oh, I still think to this day, like if the people below us had a video camera of what happened, this guy in his underwear being like squeaked down their window as his belly's like touching the window.
They were traumatized for life.
Oh, guaranteed.
Wow. They were also probably at a conference.
They probably were. Well, actually, there was the same trip that me and Kay, we were going through Grand Prairie. We were headed over to Breakforth, and he saw the light in front of him turn orange. So what do you do when you see an orange light? You speed up to get through it. So he sped up to get through it, but
It's a common mistake.
he didn't see that the car in front of him slowed down for the same orange light.
Oh, you rear-ended it.
Bam!
Ouch.
We smoked this car, send him out into the.
Oh,
He had F-150. Smokes this car, sends him out into the intersection, and we get up there. I stayed in the vehicle, just way too embarrassed. He goes and talks to them. Guess where they're headed?
the conference.
The conference. And then the story actually gets worse. In the conference for one of the sessions, we realized they're sitting right behind us.
Oh man, to be a young adult and have not your full brain developed, man.
It's so true. Somebody said, is it just me, or does it feel like 30s and 40s is just recovering and finding healing from 20s?
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's so true.
That's funny stuff.
Okay, buddies. Our conference was not like that. We have matured a little bit since then. But I just wanted to process a little bit about Bethel, because Bethel is a movement for sure, and a church, I think, for not just their city, though they are for their city, but I think they're a church that's pastoring actually a lot of churches around the globe. And you see this in their staff, and you see this in the conference. This was a leaders or pastors conference, right? And there's just people from all over the world, including, for one session, we sat by a couple that actually used to go to Evangel, right? An older couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Which was kind of fun. They're like, "Oh, you're from First and we used to go to a little church."
Actually, a few couples knew people from Evangel.
Uh-huh.
What
Yeah,
are
wow.
the chances?
Yeah, another
Wow.
session, we sat by a couple. They're like, "We're from Canada." I'm like, "Oh, where?" "We're from BC." "Oh, where?" Just a little town." "What town?" "Little town called Terrace." I'm like, "No way, we're from Fort St. John."
Do you know so-and-so?
Yeah, and then they're like, "Do you know Tony Warner?" And I'm like, "This is Tony's daughter." It was actually crazy. It
Yeah.
was super cool.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
But I would love to just process. I know there's like stories flying every which way for sure. But I just simply want to process what we saw and what we felt like the Lord did. what you saw in the culture there. Did you go into? I know Logan, you went to school there, so you probably had less preconceived ideas. But Vadim, this is your first time there. It was my second time there. The 8 of us went as a staff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have some preconceived ideas? Were those preconceived ideas blown out of the water? What was kind of your take? And Logan, actually, for the same question, but I'd like you to go back 4 years when you first went there, and maybe some of your preconceived ideas, and then what you experienced when you were there. But let's start with Vadim, the Reverend Pastor Vadim. Did you have some preconceived ideas, or what? What did you even believe 4 years ago about? What were your thoughts on this church, and then what happened this weekend?
Well, yeah, being there was for the first time was definitely transformative. The preconceived ideas I had, tons, like especially when you've never been to a church like that, and all you hear or know is from either sermons that you listen online or other people that like Logan been there and they come and share.
Sure.
And so you kind of build that, or, tons of criticism online too. People who had negative experiences going to BSSM and they, didn't mature enough, experienced something wrong. And anyway, so all that cacophony is in your mind. And it's like the good, the bad, the ugly is there. And it's like, I always want, like, I need to be there. I just want to go and experience for myself, see it for myself.
Wise man.
Then I can make a fair judgment in some ways, because when you pick a clip here and there and try to piece it together out of context, it's always, we can do that with our sermons here.
You
go out of context.
Go on our Instagram and look at some of the out of context.
And I'm teaching heresy all of a sudden because I said that, some weird thing.
Right.
But it's like, if you put it in context, I was making a larger point. And so I feel like the similar thing was happening and happens. And anyway, this opportunity came up and I was super excited, and I was anticipating just to be there, just to see it for myself.
Right.
Maybe like I would compare it to, if you lived around the time when Jesus was alive and you heard about Jesus and you hear about these crazy things that happen and
from different people,
and some say like bad stuff. Others are like, no, this is the Messiah.
Some want to kill him.
Yeah, others want us to kill him, like he's a false prophet and all that. And I would be that person who'd be like, let me see. Like, I want to see it for myself. Wow. Yeah, I hear you. I want to go. Anyway, so being there, just like, wow. It put
what was your first impressions?
Yeah, like, I felt peace and presence of God.
Wow.
Throughout the whole thing. Yeah. And obviously being in leadership, I always observe how leaders steward the environment, the presence of God.
Right.
And just observing leaders there, and just such a healthy environment. Of course, again, you come into one piece of a larger picture. We went to a conference, and after that, Mary and I, we went to the Sunday service.
Right.
And healing rooms.
And the healing room. So like just pieces still, and you're still kind of putting it all together. But even from what we experienced, just such a just healthy environment, healthy leadership, and a discipleship heavy culture. They want to disciple people, nations, and that's not to say that they don't struggle with things. There's no weaknesses, blind spots. They acknowledge it themselves, which is, I appreciate that authenticity.
Right.
And Chris and Bill, they on podcasts that especially recently they've been talking a lot about like fivefold and how it works together, and how in their sort of experimenting with this model of leadership, how they were downgrading or neglecting some of the gifts at the expense of others, and how now they're looking back and trying to like, balance it out and seeing the blind spots that they haven't seen for a long time.
Sure.
And I just love that. I think every church needs that, to acknowledge that we do have blind spots. We don't know fully. Right. And I saw that there. And to me, that's you don't claim, I know everything. This is the truth, right? I mean, they humbly seek the truth, and they don't claim to know all of it,
right?
But they seek it. Yeah.
Did anything shock you?
Shock, as in,
Ka-chow.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a shock. I mean, in healing rooms, there was just how people who are not part of leadership, that is visible, they're on stage, that are more like Bill and Chris, who are prophet, apostle, the people who are just serving on the in healing rooms and they're volunteers, right? How they are empowered to walk in giftings, like a teacher, like apostle, a prophet, or pastor, shepherd. How they, I in the healing rooms, there was a grade 2 teacher who was this lady that she was teaching. She had a segment that she was teaching on healing, and it was such a deep teaching that she was doing. Wow. She wasn't, I don't even know if she's on staff. I think she's a volunteer. Yeah. And she is involved in public school. She's a teacher there, but she's using this gift in the body of Christ, and she's teaching on healing. And then you have these older ladies that have so much authority in the spiritual realm of deliverance.
Did they have multicolored hair?
I didn't see any multicolored.
Some of those ladies, they just got a vibe about them. Flags, tambourines.
No. This one was in the waiting room, actually, of healing rooms.
Right.
Where we were just waiting to kind of advance into the next session, and they were just these older ladies. They were just super welcoming and praying for you. Wow. And I just remember Mary was prayed for, and I just kind of closed my eyes and I saw this manifestation, a demonic manifestation. Just the lady was running through this,
like somebody that was there for prayer.
Someone was there for prayer, and there was, all I saw was just like her diving head first into the floor, hard floor. Wow. And this older lady who is sort of overseeing this waiting room, she's just running towards her, calming everyone down and just saying, it's okay. Jesus is here. She's just she's going to experience freedom. And as she's doing it, she just like comes to this lady, and she speaks to the demon. Wow. And commands, shut up.
Wow.
Not in Lowe's voice.
Shut up.
Yeah. But just very like authoritatively, shut up. You do not do any chaos here. Wow. I forbid you. And all of a sudden,
of course, the devil wants to. Wow.
Yeah, and no scene, nothing, just delivered. And that lady actually had a back pain from childbirth, got delivered, and no pain.
Wow.
Right there. This is the waiting room.
Sounds like Bible times a little bit.
Yeah, that morning
sounds biblical.
And that morning they had
cool.
people getting out of the wheelchair, and there's just like tons of stuff. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So for context, healing rooms happen every Saturday at Bethel, right?
Yeah. Every Saturday. I think during COVID they shut it down for a little bit.
Always been up, yeah.
And it's just by healing rooms is the name of it, but it's just a whole bunch of people that are ready to.
The way I saw it, or the way I understood, it's one of the piece of their revival culture of experiencing miraculous, and this is just their way of stewarding that environment where you can continuously experience that. And it's every Saturday they clean the chairs, rearrange the chairs, rearrange the auditorium. Crazy. And yeah,
cool. Wow. Yeah, it's a wild experience.
That's cool, but Logs, go back in the day 4 or 5 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
ideas.
really have any preconceived ideas. I didn't wasn't on the internet, I guess.
Before the internet.
No, there was the internet. I just didn't. My algorithm was just sports, so I didn't know anything about anything. I had just heard a bit about school through my wife who had gone there the year before. So I didn't really have any preconceived ideas, at least not negative ones.
Right.
But I just remember going and what stood out to me was, specifically in my first year, was how thorough, and what's the word I want to say? Thorough and full. Complete's not the right word because we haven't really arrived at complete, but the theology was, and listening to Bill speak and watching things happen. That's the thing that people get so caught up in the what's happening around them, the manifestations, the way it looks, the wild worship, the demons, then some of the unhealthy things. But of all the things that are like glorious, them being able to, especially Bill giving context for this is the kingdom, this is the Lord, this is and being able to, actually read the Bible and show us this is the Bible. And we're leaning into experience more of heaven on earth.
Right.
And so that was amazing for me, and has developed so much of who I am now today. Just this a more well-rounded kingdom theology, one that doesn't just read the Bible as like a roadmap to life and how to operate, or even less a way to tear apart your opponent. That's just degrading the value of the Bible, but as a means to understand the author, who he is, what he values, what his nature is like, what his kingdom even is. It's interesting that Jesus, the very first thing he does when he steps out of the wilderness, I was just teaching this, is he says, repent, the kingdom is at hand. And so I think so much of where we miss what the Lord is doing now is we think that the gospel stops at your personal salvation and forgets that he came to bring a kingdom, to save all of humanity, all of the earth, to redeem everything. And so that's what Jesus said, repent, the kingdom is at hand. And then he proceeds to
explain the kingdom.
Lead people into salvation, which is body, soul, and spirit, sozo.
Right.
But then explain the kingdom. The kingdom of heaven is like this, kingdom of heaven.
Right.
And I'm bringing this reality. And so for us to learn a lot of like, hey, you're saved, amazing. That was like that was for sure his top priority. But let's lean into the more of what he's trying to do here. Here's the kingdom, and here's what it looks like to bring the kingdom on earth, and here's what it looks like to bring God's kingdom and his will and his nature and his value system into your workplace, into the medical field, into the classrooms, and a practical application of this. And that was amazing for me. That was just like, wow, the kingdom's practical. It's not just this offshoot idea.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Did anything kind of stand out or shock you or going to the conference? And I'm not asking the question. I want to ask the question here in a minute, like what you feel like the Lord was doing in you personally this last weekend.
Right.
But was there anything that kind of like just reminded you of something, or expectations versus reality? Or?
Reminded me, another remembrance was, I mean, there's a lot of things coming back, but one of them was just like, just blown away and challenged that, and so many people have experienced this. You walk into their gathering and they worship, and you feel the presence of God, and crying so often in the worship sets, and I love when the Lord is moving in the room, and it brings me to tears. It doesn't happen very often,
right.
And I'm always like, Lord, I love to cry. I actually love it. And so it happened, probably every worship set. And I'm amazed, and I know because being there, the history of cultivating a house for the Lord, in so much the sense that the Lord is there. When you think of like the glory and the splendor of Solomon's temple for the Lord, well, there was a lot of care and intention behind the building of the temple of the Lord and the Lord resting there. And so you see that in their culture. It's not just a blip of a revival. It's been there for 30 plus years.
Right.
Even more so if you go to Earl, Bill's father, cultivating this will be a house for the Lord, and you feel the presence of the Lord. And so the value of worship again, and I just was like, this place is amazing.
That's so cool. Good to be back. Like for you and Jor.
Super good. Yeah, we received a lot.
That's so cool. Same. It's so cool to experience as a team as well. It's not just like one of us is going down there and receiving something.
Right. Yeah. And as a team, I mean, I think we long to experience God's presence here at Evangel, and we pray for it. We dream about it, and not to say that we're copying Bethel, but they have something that we maybe desire. Maybe kind of maybe I'm speaking for myself.
Right.
But the desires of my heart were fulfilled there. Because like I saw or experienced what I wanted, what I long for.
Right.
And not to say that I don't experience it here. I do. But we want to intensify what we experience on Sundays, what we experience in our houses, our homes. We want to intensify 100-fold. I don't think there's any measure to God's presence.
Yeah, for sure.
He is unlimited. He's, you can't box him in. So yeah, you experienced him this much and it was overwhelming. Well, guess what? Next time you're going to experience it even more, and it's going to be even more overwhelming.
Right.
So anyway, just saying that these desires to have that here in our lives, in our workplaces, when you see it play out, you're like, this is what I want. This is what we want. So yeah, for us as a team, I think it was bonding in that way.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I think for me, like I've listened to Bill probably since maybe 2008. I think was the first time listening to old podcasts when I kind of came up here to First St. John and then lots of Bible school and stuff. But there were things that like about Bethel that like scared me, and I didn't understand, and I felt like I judged. Often now seen like prematurely for sure, but also, I mean, there's still things that like I don't understand for sure. There are, and there's things that Bill and Chris don't understand about people. Like every movement, like if you're a leader of any sort, you're gonna have all types of people, and you're gonna have, as your dad calls them, Fruit Loops.
Right.
Like that's just gonna be a piece of it. And so I think like I didn't know what to do with like the things that I didn't understand. And I think a piece of my journey was seeing how much, and not just Bethel, but other movements, seeing how much of what I decided was correct theology was actually rooted in a deep, deep fear. And those ways of life or ecosystems, which to be honest, I feel quite confident that places like those look a whole lot more like the New Testament than other denominations or movements. And I realized like a lot of my like judgment or preconceived ideas was based out of fear. And possibly fear of that this will get out of control, and there's not enough control, or there's not enough like boundaries placed on these things. And kind of using the slippery slope argument, which by the way, you can't use a slippery slope argument unless there's hard evidence that A leads to B and B leads to C. So, for example, well, if you teach people to hear God's voice, I mean, we've dealt with this in Evangel. Then next thing you know, people are gonna, say they heard the voice of the Lord and told them
Get divorced.
Yes, that they should get divorced, or that Jesus and Satan are brothers, or weird, ridiculous nonsense. And it's like, okay, yeah, we get that, but again, that's rooted in a deep fear and control. That like, if you allow this kind of freedom, or if you allow this, then how do you know what's real and what's not? And in a manifestation, which by the way happened all throughout Scripture, or the demoniacs, how do you know what's real and what's not? Well, first of all, I don't think it's necessarily for us to be the people that point out that's God, that's the flesh, that's the devil. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord, and I will repay. Like, it's all gonna work itself out, right? And we get to choose to focus on what is good and what is lovely and what is pure and what is noble. And so for me, I just realized there was a lot rooted in fear, and there's still things I don't understand and maybe don't even agree with, but I don't take it as like, oh, my theology's better. Just like I don't understand that yet, or get that yet, and the Lord might change that, which has happened so many times. I think the crazy thing that I realized there's such a culture of freedom. Like going there, and I've always known this, but like there's such a culture of freedom that like Bill always says, we don't want to make a big ministry, we want to make big people. And that's not just a floozy statement. They fully believe that. And if you follow that belief through, that ultimately means that you are gonna have to trust people that might bite you in the rear end later on. And it means that you're going to have to put people in leadership that it might not necessarily end well. And you're going to have to trust these people, and you're going to have to leave this for the Lord to decide. And this person that's going maybe a little bit too crazy in worship, you're going to, I mean, Bill has a story. What's the story of the prostitute? Do you remember that story where can you just share that quick? Because that's what I'm getting at. Oh
yeah, I mean the story is, I think he was was at a conference and Heidi Baker was there, and they were all speaking, and there was this girl in the front row that was just making all kinds of noise and seemed to be creating a big scene
in worship, right?
Yeah, and he was like, he felt like in his heart, like, man, that's too much. Like, that's just like, you're taking away from the Lord.
Like, and Bill Johnson, like, Bill
like,
Johnson is saying that, like, that's
like,
too much.
This is just taking away from the Lord. And then Heidi, and he makes a joke like, oh, of course Heidi, she always sees right. This Heidi's just the sweetest old lady. Leans over to Bill and said, "Isn't that so beautiful? She just got delivered from many years of prostitution, and the Lord's just really setting her free. And she's just like a child experiencing freedom for the first time."
Wow.
We just love to judge we love to judge the offering and the expression, rather than weigh the truth behind it and the heart behind it. And this is what happens with David McCall, and this also happens with Mary and her alabaster jar. They're expressing to the Lord this overwhelming sacrifice or offering or whatever, this outward display that is literally contextually offensive to everyone around them.
Yeah.
And the disciples, the followers of Jesus, are literally all saying, "What is she doing? They're saying, this is such a waste. This is such a bad, this outward expression is inappropriate." And Jesus is like, "You don't really know. This will be told him. I value this so much that it'll be told in memory of her for all time." So, we're just looking with the wrong eye sometimes. On the freedom thing, I love what you're saying. So cool. I think one of the things with freedom is freedom. Massive freedom requires massive responsibility, right. And many people will prefer the safety of slavery over the responsibility of freedom.
Yeah, look at the Israelites. As soon as they got out, we want to go back. We had food there.
Yeah, as soon as they had freedom, and it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do with that? You go, go and get the man, and you got to humble yourself for the Lord, seek the Lord, follow what he's saying. There's responsibility required. And a lot of people don't like that, so they just prefer the slavery and shun all the expressions of freedom because they're not willing to step into it themselves. Right. Yeah.
And I can say from a pastor's perspective, from a leader's perspective, that control and slavery, I mean, that's a strong word, but maybe control is way simpler.
Yeah, for sure.
Way simpler. So it's a pain point for me in some regards. That is my mic going in and out weird? Is it just moving?
I don't think so.
It's a pain point for me in some regards that we actually believe in hearing the voice of the Lord, right. Specific rhema words to specific people. But I think the ROI and the pros far outweigh the cons, because we want to get people directly connected to the vine with no medium in between, right? So our whole goal in counseling, our whole goal in evangelism, our whole goal in Sunday mornings, our whole goal in our retreats is to get people personally connected to the vine, which is also a dangerous thing from a leader's perspective, because now you have all these big people with lots of perspectives and lots of views, and it can get really, really messy. So I'm just saying, I fully get, if you're a leader out there, I fully get why you would want to control that. It's way simpler. And this was the Reformation with Martin Luther. Up till then, Catholicism, the only ones that could interpret scripture were the spiritual leaders of the day. And that's way simpler, because then I understand it and I tell you how it goes. But Martin Luther was saying, no, we have to get this into the hands of the people and interpret it in our language. Yeah,
which is messy.
It's very messy, and look what happened. The Reformation happened out of that, but also was very messy. And I think we're with hearing Jesus' voice and some of these things, it is a bit of a reformation and it's messy. But we're wanting to say, no, you have your own relationship with Jesus, and it's gonna be messy.
Yeah.
Where there are no oxen, the stable is clean, but much increase comes from the strength of the oxen.
Yeah, expand on that.
Yeah, that's what that means. I think even just clarifying your point, like from a leader's perspective, it's messy. I would say, and you would probably agree, from a worldly definition of leadership, it's risky, but from a kingdom leadership perspective, it would be like vital.
Transformative.
Right.
It'd be vital to empower leaders because you have a much bigger goal to accomplish that's outside of your own ability to do. So yeah, it's totally messy. My dad used to say, and I'm sure it's just a quote from someone else, but if you want leaders to be big or do something impactful, you have to give them enough rope that they can hang themselves.
Right.
And Jesus himself literally did that with Judas. I think one thing to be a word for leaders out there, if your definition of sound leadership is that there's no faults, you might want to rethink that, because Jesus was the perfect leader, and 1 out of 12 of his guys betrayed the Son of God and committed suicide.
Right. And all died.
Right.
Killed.
Right, yeah.
So you could also view that as like, oh, this massive fail. It's like, what? Even all his disciples ended up
for sure
being killed, murdered.
But one of them like undermined the ministry.
That's true.
So I don't know if this is a prophetic word for somebody out there, but if you're having like an undermining in your ministry right now, that does not mean that it's a failed ministry. It just means that people are people and God's moving potentially. Yeah. And we need to lean into what God's doing, not what the world standard is.
That's so good. What was the Lord doing personally in you guys? Like, what was he showing you guys there? And then we'll start with that question, and then we'll end here with kind of one last thought from each of you guys about Bethel, whether it's like a thought or a caution or a encouragement.
Yeah, for sure. For me personally, still trying to understand what the Lord was saying, but definitely I was waiting for the word for the entire weekend or week.
Right.
And it literally, the last word that I think it was Dave Harvey. he was closing the conference, and he said the last word, and that was the word of God, of the Lord for me.
That's crazy.
And he said, get your hopes up. And it's
Wow.
such a simple thing, but I didn't even know that that's what I needed. And but that just spoke to me. And I think it's spoken to many areas of my life.
I love that.
That I need to, that hope actually has levels up. Like you like to say, leveling up and going to the next level. I think hope has levels. And when you say, get your hope up, you can actually increase your hope and increase your sense of expectation, anticipation for what's coming next. And I think that was a word for me. Another thing was it was about
So cool.
the presence of God. I really felt like we as a family, my family, Mary and I, our responsibility as parents is and as leaders here is not only to host the presence of God here, on Sundays and during the week, prayer summits, but in our own house.
Yeah.
But I was asking the Lord how practically.
Yeah.
And he just kind of gave me some practical things. And one of them was worship, playing worship music 24/7 in our house.
Wow.
And just soak the place with God's praises. Like even when I have nothing, when I have a day where I feel off and I have nothing to give the Lord, praise him, or have hard time struggling to find things I'm thankful for, have someone else to intercede for you. And so it can be your worship band playing in the background, but just so that we don't just host people, like, how you host people.
Yeah.
You create an environment for them, and that is friendly, that is welcoming, comforting. And so I felt like the same, we need to do that for the Lord. Create an environment where it's easy for him to land and easy for him to come in and speak to people who are coming into our house. And one of the funny things that we started doing, it's not funny, but kind of goes along with hopes up and faith up. We started telling our kids, hey, we actually going to make space and room for Jesus at the table. So every time we sit down, we decide.
I love
so
that.
cool.
Love that.
We make them, we tell them decide where Jesus is sitting. And so they pick a chair, the extra chair. And then that's where he sits. We invite him in. I mean, it's a symbolic thing, but he does say, where 2 or 3 gathered in my name, I'm there.
I am there.
He knocks on the door. And so we take that literally, and just kind of like creating that faith in our kids that is tangible, that you can actually touch. Yeah.
I love what you said about the worship,
so cool.
the continual worship. I can think of another great, amazing, inspirational person that did the exact same thing.
Oh, really?
His name is David, and he hired worshipers
Oh,
to
yeah,
worship
that's
before
right.
the Lord 24/7.
right.
So I think that's great. Just like, it's like, no, we value this so much, and it's so easy for us. He had to hire professional
we're
musicians.
paying subscription Apple Music.
Yeah, but it's like for us, it's like Wi-Fi, and their TVs are cheap nowadays.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
you just press play, and that's a great idea. I love that.
We noticed we did that for a few days and noticed in ourselves
Wow.
how the Lord was meeting us and sustaining us through the day, giving us grace to like actually giving us peace. And even in parenting, just it was amazing. And
That's really cool.
what did I do? It's not even about worship. It's about listening to the word of God that he spoke to me and just doing what he says. It can be totally different for
Sure.
That's why it's important to hear God's voice, and that's why we always try to connect people to Jesus.
Wow.
I love the tangible Jesus at the table. We have one extra seat at our table.
Yes.
We've always said, do we need to adopt a kid or something? And we always just say that's where Jesus sits.
That's awesome.
So cool.
Yeah.
No,
Lokes, what was the Lord doing there? Or you want me to go?
You can go. Sure, you go.
Okay, so many things, took so many notes, but one of them was Bill talked on Isaiah 61.
Oh, that was so good.
Oh, I'm still just processing this and
I don't know, we missed that.
don't know what to do with that, but he's reading through Isaiah 61, which this is the passage where Jesus reads, but then you kind of go on where Jesus ended. And so it says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because the Lord has anointed me. This is Jesus, right? To preach good tidings to the poor. To who?
Poor.
Poor. He has sent me to heal the
Sick.
brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the
Captives.
and the opening of the prison to those who are
Bound.
So we got 4 things there. We got the poor, brokenhearted, captives, and bound. And then it goes into this amazing prophetic thing of what's going to happen. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and day of vengeance of the Lord, to comfort all who mourn, to console those who mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, or oaks of righteousness,
Yep.
the planting of the Lord, that he may be
Such a good
glorified.
word.
And verse 4, and they shall rebuild the old ruins, and they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations. Who's the they?
The
that are going to
brokenhearted,
do-
the
All 4.
captives.
Those 4 things.
Yeah.
It's going to be the brokenhearted, and it's going to be the captives and the prisoners and the bound and the poor.
Wow.
And you look at the culture of Bethel. I mean, Chris always says it's so unfortunate that when there's sin that happens in leadership or an affair, we exile them to Mars,
Right.
never to be seen again,
Right.
which is so anti-gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And you see throughout Bethel, by the way, like every other church and leadership and people, because we're all people, you see the restoration where you have pastors who back in the day had an affair or went through a divorce or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And those pastors were not exiled and pushed out of the church, and then as a result no longer love the church, no longer walk with God like we tend to see. They're actually fully reconciled and leading in a massive way at Bethel. And that's not that they still took a break and had probably time off ministry and were brought healing guaranteed. But I'm just so in awe of like, oh, the ones who are going to rebuild the old ruins and repair ruined cities and the desolations of many generations
Yeah.
are the broken, which means the people that you and I might dismiss as like, they blew it. Or go
No hope
maybe
for them.
Yeah, maybe pastoring's not for you, or maybe or whatever it is. No, you be very, very careful, because it's those exact people that are going to do verse 4. It's going to be the captives. It's going to be the broken people, which is Jesus's MO as well. He found the broken and the messed up people, and this weird crowd of Fruit Loops, the 12 disciples, just gathered from all around, all different careers and everything, and messed up and dealing with pride and arguing and character issues and stealing and violence, chopping people's ears off. And it's those people that just did this verse 4. And I was just like, whoa, that is so cool, because I think our culture takes the most talented, the most gifted, and the most anointed, and it's like, it's those people. And so you just see, at Bethel, them actually living this out and what it looks like. And it feels so hopeful for me. It's like, oh man, that person on the street, or that person that like got a divorce, or is currently dealing with sin, or stuck in pornography, or whatever it is.
Right.
There's big plans from the Lord for them.
Yeah. Wow.
That's so cool. When Jordan was in her 3rd year, her mentor was going through a divorce that very year. And it was really powerful. I remember specifically,
So crazy.
like, people asking us, even from back home, tell us about your mentor. And she was telling them about him, and they would ask questions, and then it would come out like, he's actually just going through a divorce right now. His wife had just left him. And the response was, I was like, oh, like, do you feel good? Like, or is that like,
yeah,
isn't,
Not
like,
sure what
it's
to do with
kind of
that.
like, shouldn't this mean X, Y, and Z? Sure, in the world's perspective, but the kingdom is like God's
Right.
just redeeming things, you know.
Right.
So powerful.
And to be
and
clear,
that guy
he was going through massive healing.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were walking with him.
and he was super vulnerable with his team and with his leadership, and was a very vulnerable man, and you know, in tears lots of times. Just I'm going through process as well, and he spoke tons of healing to Jordan, specifically around
Crazy.
really fathered her in that
Yeah.
season. And so one of the statements he used to say in school all the time, because in school, especially first year, you're dealing with all this, you know, the Lord's bringing up like this, that,
Right.
this. So they always call first year heart surgery, because it's like all the things you thought you knew, you're totally wrong, and you need humility and you need confession, whatever. And so there can be this like humble place that you're in,
Yeah.
and they would say, by the way, you can be powerful and in process at the same time. And we always
Wow.
separate those things. Like,
Right.
I'm in a
Yeah.
season of being in process, and when I'm done, when I'm redeemed, then I'll be powerful. But what if you can do both? And so,
That is so cool. And we often view process as weakness,
yeah,
right? So it's like, which also leads to don't share about your process.
yeah, because now you're not powerful anymore. You gotta
Yes.
step out of that.
So much shame
Tier.
there. Yeah.
It's wild.
That is so good. What's
I
the Lord
love
doing
that.
to you, buddy?
I mean, a lot of like just drinking from the old wells for us. I had a couple really cool encounters. We had one where almost, you know, at the we were where our Airbnb was staying was just a block and a half from where we were living in second year, and there's a field-ish kind of back there, just kind of uninhabited land and forest. And so I would go have prayer walks there all the time. That's where I was dancing undignified before the Lord. And anyways, there's a specific spot. This is super cool. Actually, I should probably speak about it sometime, but there's a specific spot that I would go, and I remember receiving a vision from the Lord there around legacy, and it was this powerful vision. I shared with my parents, all stuff. And I cultivated a spot there. And the best way to describe it, the easiest way to understand it, is it's a thin spot for me. There is a thin spot there where the separator between heaven and earth is very thin there.
Interesting.
And it's like I literally, to the point of like, as I'm geographically moving there, every meter closer, I can feel the weight of His glory intensifying as I move into that spot. So powerful, and I'm just like moved to tears. And actually, at one point, my wife was like, it's kind of wet, and she's pregnant. So you just go to your spot, and I'll just wait here. And then I went there, and I was just like, man, the Lord is just here. And I went back, I was like, I just need to bring you here. And it was just powerful. And honestly, for me, I feel like the Lord was like, you know how like valuable this is to me, and I would travel you all across the world to get to a location because I want to speak to you here. And it was cool. We walked back from there, and there was this other little field, and Jordan's like, remember we sat there with the blanket on Easter Sunday, and we were pregnant with Asher, and it was actually just, you know, we had a lot of miscarriages, and Asher was he'd kind of broken through the barrier of I think maybe first term, and so it was a big deal, and we were starting to get confident.
Right. Yeah.
And so we were speaking things over his life, and she's like, man, I just remembered in this moment, the Lord was reminding her prophetic words, that I prayed in that spot that he would be marked by the cross. And now Asher,
Jordan did. Yeah.
Asher will always be like, that's a cross, Dad. Like right here, I'm looking at these. See those little X's? He sees an X and he says, that's a cross. That's a cross, right? That's a cross. And Jordan has a tattoo on her wrist, the little cross. So he always gets a marker and marks himself with the cross. That he would be marked with the cross. But one day he came home and he had the big cross markers. And then he was frantically running like, I need a pen. I need to draw a cross on Zealand. Why do you do that? I need to draw a cross on Zealand so that God can find him.
Oh, wow.
That's what he said.
Yes.
Wow.
Which is theologically correct. You need to be marked by Jesus if you're going to be found by the
Passover
Father.
lamb.
Yeah, it was just like,
X marks the spot.
yeah, it was just like powerful. And there's a few
So
other things he
cool.
was doing, but I think overall, just this like awareness of him and that he's moving, and a lot to do with the leadership and advancement of the promised land and taking up ground, which was the theme of conference. Really felt prophetic for us. You know, we had just come off of a season of walking through the wilderness, with intention and purpose. Like, it's not we were just totally wandering, but it's like this isn't the promised land yet, and it feels a little bit like we had just finished our last Airbnb the week before we got there, so it was like we just crossed over a little bit.
Yeah,
Felt like
bookend.
felt like there was a lot of prophetic stuff for us, and lots of dreams. I would say is a big thing that is moving forward now.
Come on, it's so hope filled there.
Oh,
hey?
yeah.
Do you guys notice that? Like, it's so hope filled.
Yeah.
I've been so tempted to like write so many different books, and I've got a fair bit of the way through a lot of them. Like, I have a title.
Oh, nice.
So, and I assume that's like most of the way through. Hey, but when you're there, you just feel like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go write a book.
Right.
You actually just it's so hope filled, which is the kingdom. What would you guys say to somebody, and not even specifically about Bethel, but to somebody who is stretched by theology or Bethel or movements? Logs, I'll start with you. What would you say to somebody who's stretched by Bethel or maybe doesn't understand Roland and Heidi Baker?
Sure.
Or there's like maybe some fear there. They feel like this is off. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
What do you say to them? Then Vadim.
Man, there's so many things. I don't know. My biggest thing is one, look at the fruit. Always look at the fruit. Who
Right,
are these people?
right.
What do they embody? What's coming out of their life? That will lead you to the source of the tree, and it might actually be very,
that's so
very good. And then just walk in humility, and just
That's
know
so
that like
good.
God is so much bigger than you think He is, and He wants to do so many things that are outside of your perception or ability to perceive and understand. You know, and be open to the fact that you might be wrong about this. Just be open to that, and don't just judge the fruit by its initial taste.
Right.
It might
Yeah.
be a different fruit that you've never had before.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's good, Vadim.
Yeah. I
Last
was
call.
just looking up the picture that I took on Sunday at Bethel. So we went to the service there. And so the guy in front of me had a Bible.
Oh, right.
I love it.
He had a Bible just sitting there. And I looked it up and I took a picture. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a MacArthur study Bible. This
you
is
know about
at
this?
Bethel.
Look.
This is at Bethel, and I thought,
Give us some context
kind of
for
funny.
who MacArthur
Yeah,
is.
it's kind of funny, but I felt like this is the Lord gave me this picture literally as a way to navigate this. That I think a lot of people have this tension between Bethel and more traditional churches like MacArthur would be.
Yeah.
He passed away now, but he was a teaching pastor at Grace Community Church, I believe.
Grace to you.
Yeah, grace to you. Prolific writer, again, wrote a study Bible.
Wow.
Super smart. I honor him. Like he loved the truth, but one of the things is that MacArthur was not really into Bethel, and he spoke.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, he spoke some negative things about Bethel and theology. I don't know. Maybe he went. I would hope that he went and saw Bill
At least,
and Chris.
yeah.
Not just
please-
Bethel, by the way, but
Yeah.
charismatic. All things charismatic.
Yeah, the spiritual gifts and but anyway, I thought this picture was brilliant and just kind of ironic that it is possible to hold this tension, to read MacArthur's study Bible and be in worship at Bethel Church. And this was a person there. And for him, that wasn't a problem. And for me personally, it's not like I think that I agree with everything that Bethel is teaching. I think we're all and I'm sure they won't agree with everything I think and teach. But I think, like you said, just humility and hunger. This is the
Yeah.
key.
Yeah,
And
hunger's a good word,
Bill
yeah.
says that. And I think being humble, and I think it reflects the heart of the Lord, and that's how we reach unity. This is how we help each other see the blind spots and things. And just thinking, maybe I don't know everything, and maybe
Right.
I can learn. And Bill himself, he says, you know what? I am open to being changed. And he actually reads books that, like MacArthur's views on heaven and kingdom. And he loves to challenge himself with that. And I think I would encourage people to be challenged, to be humble and hungry for the Lord. And most of all, like, go and see for yourself.
That's so good.
That would be my last word.
Yeah.
On what you said there in the hunger, I think so I said humility, but as soon as you said hunger, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a huge point. One who is full loathes honey, but to the one who is hungry, every bitter thing is sweet. This is Proverbs. So when you're like, you know it all, and you've tasted all of the kingdom, in your opinion, you have your theology is perfect. I mean, even the honey tastes bitter to you, but if you're hungry, even the bitter stuff, the stuff you don't understand, that's weird to you, whatever, the form doesn't matter to you, it tastes sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
love that.
This is kind of a side point, but Ray Dirksen says, and we teach this in the Hearing God seminar, that if your theology did not change the last year, you probably didn't hear God. Right. He gives this story of Peter who had his theology figured out, but then sees a vision about Gentiles coming to the Lord and changes his theology in the moment.
Yeah.
I think all of us, this is a lesson for all of us, that our theology, what we think, can be changed in a moment when the voice of the Lord is heard and the vision comes in the form of the vision or whatever. It can be. It is possible. You can be mistaken, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. That's so good, guys. That's so good. I have 6 points here.
Wow.
I'm gonna give 15 seconds each. I feel like I just want to actually speak to like anyone who maybe I want to speak. You know what? I want to speak to Jimmy 10 years ago, who was intrigued by some things, but didn't was critical out of a spirit of fear. And one is, Logan, what you said. Solomon says, you know wisdom by its fruit. So just look at the fruit. You have to look at the fruit. In general, all fruit across all time. Of course, there's going to be bad apples here and there. And the student that disgruntled and left, don't call that fruit, please. And then to ask yourself, so I would ask myself, Jimmy, 10 years ago, am I critical out of fear? What is it that I am not understanding or that I'm actually fearful of?
Wow.
Because there are things, and I had lots of experiences growing up in different wild environments that it's like it produced fear in me. And so I wanted to avoid these things. Here's some other things that I feel like are super important that I would just ask you to ponder, maybe write these questions down and take them to Jesus, or just simply ask yourself these questions. If you say you believe something and you are not seeing that belief in action and or fulfilled in your life, then I would question whether you actually believe it.
Totally.
And so to the people and to me, to you guys, if I say I believe that the Lord can do the impossible, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of impossible, I'm seeing a lot of possible, then I need to question my belief. If I say I believe in miracles, but haven't seen one in 14 years, I need to question my belief. If I believe that the Great Commission, that we actually have authority to cast out demons, and I haven't encountered a demon my entire life, I need to question my belief system. If I say that the New Testament is God's word, but when I see New Testament type things in this context and I'm scared by them, I need to question some things that are happening there. And so I think a lot of people want to say like, oh yeah, no, we believe in miracles. Oh yeah, no, we believe in this. But when it actually comes down to it, to those people, you don't see much of it. So don't create the theology off of what you're not seeing. Maybe question like your belief system. What do you actually believe according to what you're seeing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, your faith verified by works. Yeah.
Yes. And then Vadim, what you said, go see for yourself. Like, I think that's so important. That's so important. I would not want to be judged according to what our people, no matter who it is, past or present, would say about me. I would want somebody to come and go for coffee with me and talk with me.
Totally, yeah.
And then I would also say, if you are offended by things that you don't understand, or by maybe wild things, like maybe Bill's story of that worship's a little over the top.
Right.
If you're offended with that, you're most definitely gonna be offended with Jesus. I'll just say that and leave that there. But maybe take that to the Lord. And then lastly, if your theology, and this is really big, if your theology does not have room for these 3 words, then you've created your own God in your own image, and it's a really, really little God. If your theology does not have room for I don't know, then you might have the wrong God. And I think this is massive in our culture, because we want to create all this theology that buttons things up and closes all back doors and gives us insurance for this and insurance for that, so that we cannot be hurt. And the easiest example is around healing.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, maybe God didn't heal because, he fill in the blank. Or maybe this didn't happen because, this theology. Just get quick to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
But don't change your theology according to your experience. Like, Logan, I honor this in you. Like, you know a lot.
Oh, I try to.
More than you think you know.
Not as much as chat.
Yeah.
But
except
you're
for
also...
I will say this about chat. Chat is artificial intelligence, and I have access to divine intelligence.
Ooh, that's good.
So.
And chat's so good at lying. Chat is so good. Chat lies with confidently. Have you guys noticed that?
No, but I don't use it the time.
Oh my goodness, just so confidently. But it's a lie. Not always. I think they figure 17%.
That's funny.
Which is pretty bad. I honor this in you, that you're good at saying I don't know. Like, don't create theologies out of poor experiences. We create theologies out of our theology out of the Word of God. So,
Well.
Okay, I hope that's inspiring to you guys, and may this not just be like we're waving the Bethel flag, but I can say, I grew up in Presbyterian church for 17 or 19 years or whatever it was, and I've been stretched, and the Lord's been working on me, and the Lord has used Bethel and Bethel leadership massively in all of our lives. So, okay, Vadim, close us out.
Go and see for yourself.
I thought he was going to say goodbye in Ukrainian.
But,
That's what I thought you were going to say.
In the podcast.
До побачення. І до зустрічі.
See you guys next week.